What's up there, friends? How goes it, peeps? What's going down? I had a moment to sit back and just make a kind of off-the-cuff video, which are my favorite kinds of videos to make. Whenever I do, I sometimes ask myself, why do you have an interest to sit there and just talk to a camera and upload random thoughts? And they're not necessarily random, but rather without having all the subjects on hand, all the notes that I would need to make a good presentation. And the reason being is because I find that I get more out of it sometimes when I just talk from the heart. And in this particular video, it's important that I do because it's about addiction, substance use, and depression, anxiety. I've talked about a lot of these different things over the years, but during the last year or so, the current situation, the state of affairs when it comes down to finances, when it comes down to the way that businesses are coping with lockdowns and this most ridiculous handling of this crisis, which could have been easily averted with just a little bit of foresight. And as I actually posted earlier, we've got small businesses struggling to make ends meet and to keep their company open. And then we have the Catholic Church, who I believe, if I read correctly, was the single largest beneficiary of any of the bailout money. $6 billion total went to religions. There was $3 billion to the Catholic Church, and then $3 billion split between Methodists, Presbyterians, and the Jewish, the Jewish community. I can't remember which church it was, but the point being that most religions took bailouts to bail out their, the archdiocese that needed to get paid supposedly, with the assumption they needed this money. And as it turns out, an investigation revealed they hadn't even tapped into any of the funds they needed. Like one guy would get $10 million for his, his whatever I'm not totally familiar with the bishops and the diocese and how all these different people work within the system. The point being that there was $3 billion distributed to the Catholic Church, but they already have $10 billion in liquid assets. Now, let me rephrase this. $10 billion in liquid assets plus all their other benefits like, properties and the church itself, we know, is extremely wealthy. And I would not doubt that the church is in the trillions of dollars if you took all their properties overall. But I don't know for sure. I just know that they have billions, and that a lot of... It's kind of like I found out that Harvard did the same thing, or I think it was Harvard. I don't want to misquote here. But one of the colleges took, I think it was Harvard, they took some of the bailout money as well. And this is, I think that they have tens of billions of dollars in assets that they can use for these things. I mean, Harvard is an extremely rich institution. And then people are trying to, to get by, and they're struggling. So what happens is this gap in, equality, fairness, access, it pisses people off. And these companies also have lawyers and everybody to hire to get them the very most out of it, of course. That's just how it works. This isn't really about that. It's more about the frustrations. It's one of the frustrations that people have. They feel like they're being ignored, that their government doesn't care about them. This doesn't matter who's president. Don't even type Biden or Trump, because it really doesn't matter. The point is that we have issues on the side that each president deals with, but we have the bigger issues, the underlying issues that can't be just won over by having the right president or the right elected officials in office. There's a huge gap, and even though overall people have become slightly more wealthy over the centuries, on average, and we have brought half the world out of extreme poverty, we still have plenty of people in poverty that don't need to be, and we also still have plenty of inequality. It's just that the wealthier get much more of the spoils of what we, the people, have created. So the workers that make the world go round, that build the machines, are the ones that get screwed out of the money that, just gets stuffed away in buying stock buybacks and corporate, CEO benefits and vacations and, $10,000 dinners. Well, because of this, substance use goes up, addictions go up, because people feel like they've lost hope. They feel like nobody cares about them. And they're correct. And this is, I think, one of the most revealing aspects of the modern, nation. I'm not going to say the whole world, but the world has always been this way. That in America, it really is dog eat dog. We have to take care of our own neighbors. We can't rely on institutions to do it for us. What I found out, actually, before I forget, is one of the things the Catholic Church did is they took some of the money out of the funds that were designed and set aside to pay victims of abuse by the clergy, in other words, pedophiles in the church. They took some of the funds from that to pay the bishops and pay some of their, leaders. It's the disgusting aspect of this is that people start to realize not even their church cares really about them. They care more about the money. They care about keeping themselves afloat. When an institution is trying to preserve itself, that's when it's a danger. So this is what's happened not just with religion, but with the government as well. The government doesn't want to continue to exist to serve the people. It wants to continue to exist to serve itself and to continue putting people in these positions without even knowing what the hell they're doing. And all of the realization of this over the last 10 years with the internet becoming accessible to all, even the most, what you would call asleep people, right? People who just watch CNN or Fox News their whole life, never turned it off for a minute to look at anything else, never looked at any alternative sources or any real factual books or science or information. They just watch the news. And then one day this thing comes around called the internet, and they're able to surf around to all these different places. And holy crap, are they finding a lot of things that tell them that what they thought was true is not true. And it puts people on almost into a panic mode. Like they're afraid of what they're going to discover next and how screwed over we are. This also breeds addiction and fears. And when I talk about addiction, that's just one aspect of what I'm talking about, a general unease that we have, which can be fulfilled by addictions, by compulsions, habits, by shopping, which can also be an addiction. We can have an addiction to remodeling our house, like my wife and I have lately, which is a great addiction to have because we need to get it done. But I battle my own demons, right? I enjoy having a beer, smoking a bowl. Some of the habits that I have, I cringe because I want to do better and quit some of the things I do. And then I ask myself, well, why? As long as I manage them properly. And that's really the key aspect, is to manage your addictions, to manage your compulsions, and to manage your emotions during a time of extreme turmoil right now. Now, some people, I'll tell you, the rich are getting richer. The richest people in the world have benefited immensely from the pandemic, while the average worker has been completely screwed over. So I'm not sure what to do about that. I'm not going to let that ruin my mood. But a lot of people really let those things get them down. They really let the inequality in the world get them down, rather than looking at their own lives and saying, I can do this. I can do this for myself. I'm the only one that can do it, whatever it may be that you need to accomplish. I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn about my own life, my own psyche, and those around me. But I have learned enough to know that we are 90% in control of our psyche and emotions. If we let bullshit get the best of us, we're always going to pay the price. There's nobody that's going to bail us out. We have to decide what we want to fill our minds with. So addictions will fall by the wayside once in a while. You'll find that you're just not interested in a substance anymore, or an idea, or a compulsion. If you go with the flow, the kind of woo way, right? But also we've got to take the reins, take initiative over our own lives, and not let it be overrun by bullshit, not let it be overrun by other people's opinions. So that's what I got. Peace out. I'll talk to you next time. Be well and take care of each other.